Good evening. We are with Mr. Satish Kanwar here today, who is the jury for this event. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you? How are you feeling?
It's great feeling. The regatta has taken off. Today being the first day, seeing the boats on water, it gives a very high.
So, how was the condition today? Was it tough or easy, or how were the sailors on water today? What was their experience on this first day?
Today we had two sessions. The morning session we had Ilka 6, basically earlier we used to call it the radial class, and in the afternoon we had Ilka 7 for the senior men, and also for the boys and girls we had Ilka 4 also on the water. Morning we had 3 races each. The conditions were very good and good for all competitors. It was neither too weak nor too strong. However, in the afternoon, we could get only one race through, and the winds were very shifty, and sailors had to actually do a lot of wind reading and try to come ahead. And there were changes on water wherein somebody who was leading fell behind, and somebody from maybe 5th or 6th position came on top of the fleet. So yes, in the afternoon it was much more tricky.
So was it tricky also for you to judge, or whether being many violations made on water, or how were the sailors generally?
So today on water we had 6 penalties for the sailors. Morning session, since the races were 3 in number, so we had 5 violations of Rule 42, that is propulsion by the sailors. In the afternoon we had just 1 penalty. Though the conditions were tough and we were expecting more violations from the sailors, being the men being on the heavier side, wind being light, and you expect more number of propulsions and Rule 42 violations from them. But the fleet was well behaved, and I must say that they were very well behaved on water.
Okay. So by penalty, what do you mean by penalty on water? Can you explain more about that?
Okay. What happens? The sailors are expected to use only the wind and water for movement of their boat. Now, any other means of propulsion falls under Rule 42, that is unfair means for propulsion. So it might be using a body weight or pumping the mainsail and all. So that comes under Rule 42 violations. On water today, basically, since the winds were light, so the sailors were trying to use pumping by means of fanning of the sails. So, and also by rocking of the boat. So which gives them undue advantage using their body weight to propel the boat to move faster on the water. So these were the kind of violations. And once they are penalized for this by showing off yellow flag by the jury, the sailor is expected to take 2 turns on water. So it whatever speed he was gaining and taking advantage over other sailors is neutralized by that 2 turns penalty.
So that means you had less penalties in the afternoon. That could also be because you had only 1 race, right?
Absolutely, that is one of the main reasons. Otherwise, with the man fleet and very tough competition between the sailors, you can expect more violations in that class.
Okay, sir. So what is, like, how do you feel the Hyderabad is different from other venues in terms of as your jury, you would have been to many venues. So how do you think Hyderabad is different? Because the water here is not that very clean. I'm sorry to say that. So does that change the sailing conditions for the sailors?
Okay, this is a landlocked kind of a water body, since it is surrounded by buildings and you don't have a seafront. So the challenges here are different. The buildings and the landscape which is all around gives a different kind of wind pattern. So the wind comes from different sections. So as a sailor, you have to actually read from where and with what variation the wind is approaching his boat, and accordingly try to take advantage of that. So this is a challenge, whereas at sea, more or less the wind is generally constant from a particular direction. So your tactics of tide and current also come in at a sea, which are absent at this particular place.
You don't have any currents or tides, you have very flat water. So wind will shift Does it also mean that certain people get favored because of their positions at that point of time during a race?
No, I'll say you have to be tactically very alert, and you have to keep your mind alert to be aware of the situation, what is happening in front of you.
Okay.
So it actually gives you the tactical acumen to handle such kind of wind shifts and all.
Okay, sir.
So it's also one feature which a sailor must develop.
Thank you.
So it's good for them.
It gives them an all-rounder development. They don't learn this in the sea, as you said, because the wind is always constant and comes from one direction. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Hoping to see more of you in the due course of the regatta.
Thank you.